welcome to the newest edition of The Insider, the ongoing video series that keeps you up to date on all things IPW. I'm your host, J-Rod. We kicked off 2023 with a sold-out crowd and an action-packed IPW Rumble. We would like to thank our loyal sponsor, Mi Pueblo, for helping make this event possible. The event began with a word from Terry Van Avery, who was in the best shape we've seen him in a long time, and all smiles on account of his recently lifted suspension. He came to the ring to deliver some announcements for his friend and IPW matchmaker, Josh Raymond, who was running late to the venue. Among these included Van Avery announcing that his big return tonight would be a tag team match, as Josh Raymond was ready to return as well. Jeremiah Goldmain then stepped into the ring to use his own authority as the other IPW matchmaker. Goldmain told everyone that he would personally select Van Avery and Raymond's opponents. Our first match of 2023 was a Royal Rumble match. The winner of this match would earn himself a Michiana Championship match in our main event against Jamal King. The first entrant would be a returning former IPW champion, Quick Carter Gray. Gray hasn't been seen since losing his title in October. Our third entrant would be a returning IPW Michiana champion, Brutus Atwell. Atwell hasn't been seen since losing his title in September. Both men received a standing ovation. We saw a handful of other athletes and even a couple IPW newcomers. The winner of the match and Michiana title shot ended up being Marco Modelo. Modelo boasted an undefeated record that spanned nearly 2.5 years. Modelo would get a shot at IPW Michiana champion Jamal King in Rumble's main event. Speaking of undefeated talents, Fendrick Bison put his streak on the line against fan favorite Chad Alpha in our second match of the night. Bison kept his streak alive and was once again victorious. Last time we saw the Forgotten, Jeremiah Nazareth lost his Michiana Championship. Nazareth told Jarris Gray that Jarris would be responsible for getting that title back. Considering that, it was peculiar that Jarris did not apply for a spot in the Royal Rumble match to get a shot at that title. Jarris would instead compete in singles action against someone who did compete in that match, IPW newcomer Josh Morris. Morris put up a good fight, but was ultimately too worn down from competing just 2 matches ago, and Jarris Gray picked up the big win. Mondo Real and Jimmy Shalwin defeated Scotty Young and Keith Cream in a tag team title match at Cold War. Unfortunately for them, it was by disqualification, so Young Cream kept the belts. Considering Real Hype were the winners, they remained the #1 contenders for those titles. They would get their rematch, and they tried to use Young Cream's tactics against them this time. Scotty Young attempted to use his face mask as a weapon again, but Jimmy Shalwin took the mask from Scotty, hit Scotty with it, and pinned Scotty for what appeared to be a championship win for Mondo and Shalwin. However, Bex Swisher pointed out to our referee that Jimmy Shalwin was holding the mask, and the referee quickly realized that Real Hype used it as a weapon to win the match. The referee overturned the original decision and awarded Scotty Young and Keith Cream with the victory by disqualification. A frustrated Jimmy Shalwin reminded everyone that the series between the two teams is tied now. Jimmy suggested a 2 out of 3 falls match. If the match goes to a third fall, it will be named a no disqualification match to settle things once and for all. The match was quickly authenticated by Jeremiah Goldmain, and with that, our first officially scheduled title match for Heart and Soul will be a 2 out of 3 falls match between Real Hype and Young Cream for the IPW Tag Team Championships. It was time for the home team, the return of the former IPW Tag Team Champions who have never been beaten. However, Terry Van Avery came down to the ring by himself as Josh Raymond never showed up. The mystery opponents selected by Jeremiah Goldmain would be Dre Jacobs and Justin Dream, a new IPW tag team known as War Inc. These guys were a total combined weight of roughly 600 pounds and a pair of menacing talents. They violently attacked Van Avery from behind and then shattered a beer bottle over his head. They would throw Van Avery into the ring and hit a devastating combination move before securing the pinfall. Van Avery did take the time to send us a reaction to the beating he received.
You know, I really hope that my actions at Rumble prove that I ain't got no bitch in my blood. I was supposed to have a tag team match. My partner didn't show up for whatever reason. I was going to go out there no matter what and fight against 2 guys, no matter who they were. War Inc. comes out, and they hit me in the back. And then they bust a bottle over my head. Then they throw me in the ring, do a couple more things. And then they pin me 1, 2, 3, and Dre Jacobs got the nerve to pick my head up, point it towards the camera, and start laughing like he accomplished something. The difference between me and you, Dre, is that when I want to take somebody out, when I want to throw a dart at somebody, I try to hit them right between the eyes. It looks like you like to hit people in the back. On Sunday, February 5th at Heart and Soul, how about we try this again? This time while I'm looking at you. Why don't you try to put a dart between my eyes?
We know Terry is a tough guy, but after seeing the damage he took in that match, there is no way we can expect him to be 100% by Sunday. And a match with Dre Jacobs is a tall order for anyone. Nonetheless, the match between Dre Jacobs and Terry Van Avery will happen at Heart and Soul. Van Avery didn't take the time to mention Goldmane sending him like a lamb to the slaughter, nor did he mention his partner leaving him to fend for himself. The next bout was a result of things that happened in the Royal Rumble match. A debuting Nicky Ratu teamed with Anderson Knight, and they fought it out with Casey Tempest and Max Morrison of The Forgotten. Tensions were high between Tempest and Morrison, as Morrison eliminated Tempest from the Royal Rumble match. The match even began with Tempest shoving his Forgotten brethren. Eventually, Max Morrison and Jarvis Gray decided to leave Tempest by himself. Knight and Ratu would take advantage and get the win. With Morrison being in charge of the Forgotten while Jeremiah Nazareth is MIA, you have to wonder how Nazareth feels about Morrison's style of leadership. Finally, we saw the iPad on a pole match. The long-storied rivalry of LaDon Sanders and Derek Wolf finally came to blows. In a violent dogfight of a match that saw chair shots, handcuffs, belts, and even thumbtacks, it would be LaDon Sanders who came out victorious. The match is an easy, early candidate for Match of the Year in 2023. Derek Wolf has asked to schedule time to speak with the IPW faithful at Heart and Soul. As for LaDon Sanders, you can expect to see him in singles action. There is no doubt that this big win has caused his stock to skyrocket. Brutus Atwell made his way to the ring just to say hello to the fans. Brutus told the fans that he missed them, and they let him know they missed him in return. He was interrupted by a new IPW signee, High Guy. Brutus didn't take kindly to the challenge, and we would see a fight break out. Brutus scored a win in a successful return to the ring. It was time for our first main event of 2023. The undefeated Marco Modelo would put his streak on the line against the Michiana champion, Supreme Jamal King. Modelo proved that he was up to the task, nearly taking the title from King several times. In the end, though, Modelo would submit to the Supreme Lock, and Jamal King remains the IPW Michiana champion. The Supreme Lock, his own variation of a crippled crossface, is quickly becoming one of the most effective moves in all of IPW. King has submission wins over the likes of Derek Wolf, Jeremiah Nazareth, Jarvis Gray, and now Marco Modelo. King is making it clear that he has all the tools to be Michiana champion for a long time. And that wraps up this edition of The Insider. Join us on Sunday, February 5th at Following Warehouse in Grand Rapids, Michigan, where Young Cream, Jamal King, and Ren Jones will all defend their championships as we bring awareness to congenital heart disease in the 2nd annual Heart and Soul.